Episode 55, and if you didn't know, we're talking all things independence, 4th of July, and we're swagging with some. Is that a thing? Swagging? Is that?
I mean, there's swag, but
swag.
Yeah, I don't know if we're swagging.
Well, we're here trying our best.
Yeah.
For middle-aged people as we can.
Middle-aged?
I'm middle-aged. I don't know about you.
Not there yet.
I would definitely say I'm middle-aged, but that's a topic for
That's TBD. I mean, come on,
podcast.
TBD.
It depends on how long you live.
Exactly. That's why I'm like, it's TBD.
Well,
we may not be middle-aged.
Based on family history, I'd say we're middle-aged. But again, that is a topic for another podcast.
Another day.
We're here to discuss and hopefully enlighten and share some tidbits, facts, inspire some things maybe about 4th of July, 1776, how this whole thing came into being. Maybe you learned something today. And of course, we always bring this thing back to mental health, spirituality. How does this affect us in our everyday life? So welcome to the Junto Podcast, or welcome back to the Junto Podcast, again, where we talk about all things leadership, community, unity, every topic under the sun, always with a perspective of faith. And with that, Heather, let's dig in to some Independence Day tidbits and facts.
Yeah. Well, actually, you've got most of that information there.
I know.
But
this is harder to read. That's why I wanted you to have this.
It is harder to read. It's smaller.
Right.
I don't have my glasses.
You're younger than me.
Yeah. Well, we were going to focus on the Declaration of Independence and the history of that and what happened, what led up to all of that, American Revolution, and how we are sitting here today able to celebrate our Independence Day, the 4th of July.
Yeah.
And I was going to say this kind of, because today is the 3rd.
Today's the 3rd.
I thought back of a little funny thing from your family. Y'all were at the beach, I think, and it was July 3rd, or maybe I have the date wrong, but it was Stevie or somebody was saying, celebrating July 4th on the 3rd. Is that what it was? Did I get that right?
No, but it was close. It was years and years ago.
Right.
And I was a child. And basically, we've always kind of had this thing interviewed. This podcast is essentially that. But no, he was going around interviewing people, and he'd say, we're celebrating 4th of July on the 5th.
Oh, on the 5th.
It was the 5th.
Gotcha.
And he would basically interview people at random, and of course they were drinking, and so it was a bunch of funny stuff. But I was a kid.
Been doing this forever.
I can't believe you remember that. Is the thing. Yeah.
Well, because I was thinking, this is going to be released on the 4th, but today's actually the 3rd.
Today's the 3rd.
Happy 4th of July on the 3rd.
Exactly.
But I don't know.
You must have an amazing editing and sound team here at the Juto Podcast to get it up that quick if we're recording on the 3rd.
Amazing, magical team, actually.
Who does all that?
His name is Soto. Jeremy Soto.
Okay,
Soto,
gotcha.
no.
Yeah, so
you do a great job, babe.
You'll know how I'll be spending July 3rd anyway. But no,
nice.
some very interesting stuff. And if you're asking yourself, why the heck are y'all talking about this when you focus on mental health and all this stuff? Hey, man, listen, I believe that we need to have an understanding of where we come from, our history, not only our family history, but our history as a nation.
It's part of our story, yeah.
It's who we are. It's part of who we are. We can't deny that. So with that thought and theme in mind, I'm going to jump right in. First of all, Independence Day. The origin story is that Independence Day, also called 4th of July, commemorates the passage of the Declaration of Independence by the Continental Congress on July 4th, 1776. The Declaration announced the political separation of 13 North American colonies from Great Britain. So, a lot of stuff there. I'm thinking about the book that I started but haven't yet finished, but I'm almost finished. And this is the book 1776. And I think it's, do books win Pulitzer Prizes? What is it that wins?
Don't make me say something dumb that I don't know.
Well, this is a highly awarded book, so a lot of history there. It's very important. Talks a lot about the war, the days. These are historical notes from Washington and other leaders at that time, and it's very, very interesting. So 1776 commemorates The Declaration, political separation of...
Separation.
We invent new words here at the podcast,
I like that
by
word.
the way.
That's political separation.
Well, it's like a sepulcher with separation. Yeah.
I love it. Yes. And I think it's interesting that at the time that the American Revolution...
Wow. You're going to talk about me and now you're...
That the American Revolution began was in April of 1775.
Okay.
For those people who like to look at a timeline and see, when things happened, how they happened. Because I think all that matters, when we talk about this story, there's so many different versions and things and ways that people perceive, how our country was actually founded. Was it done all the right ways? No. Is everything always done the right way now? No.
Yeah.
So keeping those things in mind. But I think the most important thing to remember is that, and our family has affirmed this for years, that we definitely believe that this country was founded on freedom because it was God ordained for religious freedom.
Yeah.
So keeping that in mind, that ultimately everything that happens is because God's plan, and, through that set of lenses, seeing all these things. It wasn't perfect. It didn't happen right. Things were crazy, whatever, chaos, but ultimately we are free today. Freedom of religion, freedom to worship as we please, because of our forefathers who, all these different steps, all these documents, all these things that were set into place.
Yeah, so, absolutely. Yeah, and there you go with the when we say all of our conversations are framed around a perspective of faith, is because they are. It's tied in. It's tied into our history. It's tied into who we are as people. Even if you're not a person of faith, you can't deny that faith has played a part of so much of what goes on here in our great nation. So, thank you for that. That was very, very interesting. And I want to talk about real quick, just in case you don't know, but I'm sure you do because you're so smart. Here we go.
Yeah.
So, critical people involved with the Declaration of Independence.
Yes.
Who was the lead author?
Thomas Jefferson.
He certainly was.
Yep.
He was the lead author at 33 years of age.
33. This is a young guy.
That's what I'm saying. I was just going to say.
Yeah.
Imagine being tasked with this type of responsibility to help form a founding document, a founding set of, and this is not just a document, these are ideas. These are founding sets of principles and ideas of government under which a nation can be formed. So, man, it's crazy. But yes, Thomas Jefferson at 33 years of age was the lead author.
Well, and you think back then as well, I know we talked about middle age just a moment ago, and you said that we were middle age. Well, we're older than...
Past middle age, probably.
Stop. We're older than that 33 mark. So for him, back then, medicine, science was so middle age. He was probably more so.
That's true.
When you put things in that perspective. And we have to, when we are talking about, everything that happened, I just said, I'm not going to say it again. When we talk about everything that happened in our history, our country's history, oh my God, I forgot what I was going to say.
Wow, she went blank. There you go. Middle age, ladies and gentlemen. That's what happens when you are...
What
she got it back.
Is that we have to remember the perspectives. These people weren't living in air-conditioned homes like we are. They weren't about to shoot fireworks for their kids and have the little sparklers, and you have to tell them 20,000 times, don't touch it because it's hot. That wasn't their life back then. They had different perspective. So to see that the things that they did and the way that the Declaration was written, and that they were trying to separate from Great Britain's rule, from under the king, that he wasn't treating them right, all the taxation without representation. But to, like the main proclamation, I think everybody knows this from the Declaration of Independence. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
That's right.
I think everybody at least kind of recognizes that. But But all the other things aside, that we are endowed by our Creator, like that freedom is from Him, from the Creator, and no man from any, era, age, whatever, can take that away from us. I think that's huge. I think that's important. A big, because I don't know, back then, like there's how many churches are in your town? How many churches are on the corner? How many, there's churches everywhere. You can get online and watch church. You can have the Bible read to you. You can read the Bible yourself online. These people had to have the hardback, the paper, the stuff. Not all of them did. So what I'm saying is, like, for something this profound, it's God ordained. I mean, you have to know that it is.
It has to be. Just the ideas, the God-given ideas, and the knowledge. And I'm curious, and I think about this. We do have so much more access to those things, but I wonder if we take it in less than they did.
Well, yeah.
Like, I wonder if they were studious. I wonder if they actually were disciplined enough to get in the Word. And, because we're so overwhelmed and distracted with life and busyness, busy doing things that don't even matter in the grand scheme of things.
Right.
Let's just be honest.
Right.
We're busy. Yeah, we're busy. We're overwhelmed.
Busy.
But are we doing things that actually...
Are we acting? Are we actively doing something that matters?
Right. So
totally different.
It's crazy, and I'm thinking about the book because it's been a while since I've read an excerpt from the book 1776, but I just remember it details how the days of the war, they could even see each other. Like, here we are, they're faced off, and you could see, and it's just like, who's going to make a move, and so much detail, because a lot of the book, it's from actual detailed accounts that were written then, from George Washington, there's other families that are involved. It talks about, it gives you a feel for the time in that era.
Yeah, I think that's important.
Yeah, it is so important, and I'm just thinking about, my gosh, how often do we take this great nation for granted? Like, things are owed to us, when the founders of this, and again, you said it from the very beginning, was everything done perfectly? No. But can anyone say,
do we do everything perfect now?
No. That's the point. And so very, very interesting stuff. So real quick, some other fellow committee members or key influential people that were critical when it came to the writing of the Declaration of Independence were John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Roger Sherman, who is probably not as much of a household name, and then William Livingston. So very, very interesting stuff there. And then here, one more tidbit, and I know you got some stuff. John Hancock was the only one to sign the actual Declaration of Independence on July 4th, 1776. The others signed later. So John Hancock was the only one to actually sign it on July 4th. Pretty interesting.
That's why when someone says, I need your John Hancock, they're talking about your signature. Has anyone ever asked you? Was that weird for me to say? It's true.
Let's just move on. But yeah,
I
know.
It's true. He's the only one who signed it on the actual day. All
that's
right,
true.
Whatever.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, I
think it's also interesting, and I don't think that the younger generations, that our kids know enough about this history. Like, I don't think they feel a connection to it. Like, it's important. Like, I need to know that. They're like, why do I need to know about some dead dudes who signed a document? Like, we're free now. Like, okay, we get it.
Yeah.
Like, no, it was hard. It was difficult. It cost lives,
Amen. Yeah.
There was a lot to it. And I think that, especially with, we're military family, our nephew, Taylor, we're huge supporters of our troops. Is everything always done right with our military and government? No, but we support our troops.
I wish it was.
And those who put their lives on the line every day and serve, because they feel that it's their duty. And because they're not, let's be honest, are they doing it for money? Are they doing it for safety? None of that. No, it's just the opposite. So I think that it's important to know all of this, and to have that in mindset, that these are people of action. Like there are still people of action right now.
Yeah.
Like our nephew's one of them. He
Right.
lost his life fighting for our continued freedom.
Yeah.
Like, no, our freedom is still not free. Yes, the forefathers got it, God ordained and everything that worked out that way with the American Revolution.
For sure.
But it's still, we still have to fight today for our freedom. So it's still not free. People still pay for it with their lives. So
yeah, and even with all its problems, it's the greatest nation that has,
you can't.
and hopefully will ever exist. And it's not just because I'm American, but it is because of the way it was formed and the values that were there. And there are going to be naysayers about anything. I'm sure you got people that think America's the worst, but the history is there. It wasn't done perfectly.
No.
But I do believe the intentions of the heart, the motives behind this document,
the reasoning, yes.
I believe all of those are legitimate and man, God ordained, as you mentioned. So
well, look at us right now. We're able to film ourselves saying what we want to say, giving information like that's to put it out there for other people. It's not like that in other countries.
That's true.
To be honest, still today. I mean, we're not just talking about 1776. We're talking about today.
It's funny you say that. I have a colleague that I work with at the college, and he is traveling to, I guess it's Vietnam. I want to say Vietnam. One of the. I think it's Vietnam. I'm not 100% sure. Long story short, but he's like, man, he says, you do not badmouth the president. They're very they'll lock you up in a heartbeat. And I don't know if they're called president there, but the leader. Yeah. But
those in power.
You made a point, and you're exactly right. I mean, man, they will lock you up. And he said, you just do not do it. So he's going over there. His wife's family is over there. But I thought it was interesting. But you're exactly right. We have so many freedoms that I think, it's like anything else. You can take things for granted just because it's familiar, just because it's the norm.
Because we got it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, oh, we're free over here. Well, everybody's free all over the world. No, sorry. It's not like that.
Yeah, it's insane, man.
Crazy.
So additional tidbits here. 56 men from 13 colonies signed the Declaration. 2 signers would later become President of the United States. Fun fact and trivia question, who were those 2 men that would later become president? Honestly, this is pretty easy.
I know Thomas Jefferson for sure.
Yeah, and the other?
Adams.
Yeah.
John Adams.
I mean, that was like 5 out of 10 in hardness.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
There's someone who wouldn't have gotten it.
Definitely, it's true. It's true. What else you got over there?
Yeah, I think it's interesting also to think about that when said the revolution began in 1775, most of the colonists were not seeking independence at that time. I mean, think about it. Okay, we're so connected. We got our phones. We can talk to each other and say, this is how I feel. We can post on Facebook.
Sorry.
This is how I feel today. This is you can do those emotions like Heather is insert the emotion. Okay?
Emoji, you mean?
People, no, like you can say Heather is sad.
Oh.
Like you can, like it highlights the emotion.
Oh, gotcha.
You tell me you know what I'm talking about.
I don't know that I do.
I never do it, but people do it.
Okay, yeah. I know
Heather
what you mean.
is excited, traveling to yada yada,
Yeah.
Anyway, so people know how we feel. People know what we think and what we're going through 24/7, 365. This is an age when we're talking about 1775. No, you would have to get a letter by horseback.
Yeah.
Weeks, months, maybe years later. Who knows? You're not always getting the information like we are getting the information. So some of these colonists were like living their lives, surviving, acting. These people of action. Like if they were to survive, they had to grow their own food and all this, till the land, all that stuff. So most of them just wanted more of their own self-government for themselves. So they weren't thinking revolution, even though the revolution was happening.
Yeah.
The people were fighting.
The people just wanted to be independent and free. They just wanted to be, they didn't need government governing them. They wanted to be self-sufficient, and and that goes back to, and even it's almost like you have to zoom out. I use the analogy of a camera or a plane where you can see a different view. Isn't it funny that since the beginning there has been a need, or maybe it's not the need, but people have seen fit to have a governing authority? Like, when you think about that, why can't we just be us? And it's weird. And that's why I say is that America is not perfect, but my goodness, if you look in history, man, other civilizations and time periods and things of that, my gosh, there were some savage things going on, but there's always been an authority of some sort. So the fact that we're a democracy, and that we essentially, the way it's supposed to work is
not
that
perfect.
We're supposed to run the government, not the other way around. But we
government of the people, for the people.
We know how things work. Still.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel, I always go back to my faith with everything. God is not chaos.
Right.
God is not throw things out here. Let's see how it turns out. Let's see how it works. There's organization, there's process to things, there's system to things. Science tells you things work because there are laws of science that make it work. Like, God is not chaos.
Yeah.
So I feel that it's a smaller model. Having leaders, of course, having those in authority. Of course, times when those in authority were not godly, not holy, not not evil. So that's just the nature of men. But I feel like organization and having a system and being organized is a godly thing and is needed and necessary. Yeah. So I feel like that, I know you say for us to just be living and doing and whatever, but I feel like there has to be order. There needs to be order for things to coexist and to work properly and function the way that they were intended to. So,
well, I'm thinking about the people's need to have that structure. I think ultimately is what you're saying, and I'm thinking about when the people wanted a king, and that's when Saul was anointed king, and even though it wasn't done the right way, and basically the prophet Samuel say, you want a king, you're going to get one. And turned out that he wasn't a righteous king, So I'm just going back to even since the beginning, since the beginning of time, you're exactly right. There has been this preordained, I don't know if it's just something in us, but the need to have that structure, the law, and authority, and ultimately God is that authority.
I think it's all supposed to point back towards Him.
Then that's the thing,
for our
right
worship
there.
of Him and our obedience to Him.
Exactly.
But we muck it up. We mess it up.
Yeah, we do.
People mess it up, and it's for our own good.
I'm glad you said muck.
Of course.
I'm just saying.
What else would I say?
No,
That's all I would ever say.
That scared me for a second. Hallelujah. No.
You're so crazy.
Okay, go ahead. What else you got?
No, I just thought that it was interesting to think about. So, for instance, 1776, Thomas Paine. We all know the pamphlet, Common Sense. Pamphlet. This is a pamphlet.
Pamphlet.
Okay. So, I'm just trying to reiterate, how slow information and why these things took so long back then. It was a pamphlet.
And it still went widespread, though. But a pamphlet.
It did, because I feel like I said before, these people were people of action. They didn't sit and say, well, what are we going to do today? I guess let's get this revolution thing going. Let's get our freedom. Let's do the right thing. They didn't talk about doing the things. They did the things. They had to do the things. And I feel like me on a personal level, I get paralyzed sometimes because I sit and I try to start my day and I'm like, okay, I've got to do this, and that. Which one is most important? Which one do I do? And then I'm sitting there.
Right.
And how much time have I wasted sitting there thinking about what I'm going to do instead of actually doing?
That's true.
Are you like that sometimes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or you're just so organized?
No, I'm definitely not. yeah, it's easy, because we have that option. I don't know that the option was there. It's
No,
almost
it
like
wasn't.
there was no option. You were forced to be people of action to some degree, because if you didn't till the land, if you didn't prep things for the night because there's no electricity, and you didn't just flip on a switch, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just all of these things were pre the comfort level we had, so they were forced to be people of action. And I think so much of this modern era is good, but I think it also creates so much complacency and apathy to where you just don't care about anything. Why? Because you don't have to. You can stay locked up in your room.
What do I need to do?
Yeah,
Everybody else is doing it. I don't need to do anything.
Yeah, you don't have to be an agent of change, but let the people, let the other people do it. And, I mean, I don't want to be that person. I do want to be, and that's, I think for us, this podcast is an action thing, right? Because it gives us an opportunity. Why? I don't need to do this. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It's work, but again, it's part of the legacy and part of the calling that we feel like God has put on our lives. So very, very interesting stuff. And let me real quick give you a timeline of events that happened, some very, very interesting stuff. So this is post July 4th, all right? This is right after. So on July 8th, 1776, the first effective celebration took place in Philadelphia. First public reading of the Declaration of Independence after people were summoned by ringing of the Liberty Bell. So 4 days after the Declaration was signed, they had a big party. It was July 8th, and then they actually read the Declaration out in Philadelphia. And then on July 3rd, 1781, Massachusetts became the first state to recognize the 4th of July as an official holiday. And lastly, in July 4th, 1801, that's when the White House held its first 4th of July party. So interesting history there.
Yeah, they actually still in Philadelphia, they don't ring the bell. They tap it 13 times because it's got that big crack in it.
Yeah.
So they've still been doing the ringing, but they actually tap it 13 times to represent the 13 colonies.
Wow.
So I thought that was interesting.
Just thinking about the number 13. I don't know. Interesting coincidence.
There's a lot to that number, that's 13. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I think there's significance in numbers, I think.
Oh, God. If you are a Bible person, then you, what, 5 is the number of man? Is it?
I'll leave that to you.
Yeah, I've got so much running through my mind right now. But anyways, so much with numbers.
Yeah.
If you're a person of faith, then yeah.
That's like we say, words have power. Words mean so much. So the numbers, I think that everything, I know that there's nothing that God in his word says or does that does not have specific meaning, very specific meanings. I mean, you always tell me, we're so different, Mars and Venus. We talk about details, and I try to give you a vague, like, here, this is roundabout what's happening. You're like, no, I need to know the details because the details matter. I need to know specifics because this could change this and that could change that.
Everything plays into it, man.
So I'm saying you're correct. Even though I don't like to always give all the details.
Y'all heard it on a recorded episode that I'm correct.
You can go back and erase this section out.
Hallelujah.
That's fine.
I am correct.
But
I just want y'all to know that.
Words have specific meaning. Words are, I think, and numbers, I think, as well. I think all of it has significance and meaning, and it's stuff that we need to pay attention to.
Absolutely.
And if we don't put it in, we don't know it. You don't get it in there, you don't know it. That's like with our history. These kids aren't being taught it, and they're not going to know it, and they're not going to care about this freedom. And then what happens years from now are like, oh, it's fine. Let's just do what they're doing over in that country.
Yeah,
let's do that. Let's adopt that.
Right.
And so then not knowing history, not knowing the past and the way things happen and that can happen, I think it's dangerous, and I think that our kids deserve better. So we're going to have to do a better job at, giving them the facts.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. And I think this is it's all very important. It's all super important. I'm so blessed, and we're blessed to be here in this great nation. It didn't just happen by accident, though, you know, and so some other tidbits here. On June 28th in 1870, Congress made Independence Day an official holiday for federal employees who worked in Washington, D.C., and then in 1938, Congress formalized Independence Day as an official paid federal holiday. That wasn't that long ago,
That's
y'all.
not that long ago.
1938, it just became a federal paid holiday in 1938. So interesting. I bet y'all didn't know that.
No,
because I didn't know it.
that.
And if I don't know it, you don't know it. I'm just kidding.
No, yeah, I love that.
Here's what I did want to say. That the three U.S. presidents, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, and James Monroe, which is crazy to me. Three presidents, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, and James Monroe, all died on the 4th of July. And Adams and Jefferson died within hours of each other in 1826.
Yeah.
On the 4th.
We need more information
July.
on that.
Yeah. Very, very
There's definitely something to that.
interesting stuff there.
I don't know what it is. Somebody knows what it is.
Somebody knows.
It's out there.
We're not the ones, though.
It's also interesting that the Declaration of Independence was a source of inspiration for some outside the United States.
Oh, I'm sure. Gosh, yeah.
The Spanish Empire in South America, Antonio and Francisco, those are their first
Banderas?
names. No,
Antonio
but those are their
Banderas.
first names. They were inspired to overthrow the Spanish Empire. So it's like the revolution sparked some stuff.
Other revolutions.
You're right.
Yeah.
Right. French Revolution.
Yeah.
After that. So I think it's interesting, God, he knows all. He sees before, after, everything in between.
All knowing.
So I think it's interesting how you see these things play out, and how just the message goes forth. It's just freedom, because going back to that, we hold these truths to be self-evident. Like that means it proves itself. It's self-proving here is what that's saying. So that every human ever born is given this freedom by our Creator. So I think that's ultimately the message, and that's how it, God was like, look, this is it. We got to bring them back, circle back.
Yeah, circle back.
Circle back.
We circling back.
We circling back.
You're right, and we always circle back to faith, and we hope you have gotten something out of this patriotic podcast episode about Independence Day. Not only that, but more importantly about our American history and how it ties into our faith now as believers. I know that things weren't done perfectly, but I'm proud of the heritage that we have as Americans. And certainly, if you are a military family or anything like that, we know what it's like to kind of hold that in high regard, and we know that there's a cost that is paid. And we're thankful. I'm thankful for the men and women, no doubt. I'm sure the unsung heroes of this whole thing are probably the great women who inspired some of these guys. Because, I mean, let's just be honest. I'm sure none of this was done without the input of the wives and important women that were in the lives of some of these men. So just thankful for that. Thank you so much for tuning in to episode 55 of the Junto Podcast. Remember, you can always follow us at juntopodcast.com. Like, subscribe, share these videos. Hey, I even want you to get in on the conversation. If there are things that that we don't know about this, or maybe you're a historian that has some additional insight, feel free to comment and join the conversation. But Heather, you got any closing words?
Yeah, I just want to charge everyone not challenge, because challenge is like you have the option to not do it or not. So that's why I'm saying charge. I'm like, let's be people of action. Let's remember as we celebrate the 4th of July, why are you able to do that? How, who gave you those freedoms? Of course, ultimately God. And who did he use to give us these freedoms? And just remember those, and be grateful and show honor to those who deserve it. Remember our servicemen and women who are out there every day, you know. Just remember that, and then show honor, give honor to it, respect it.
That's
Respect
it.
it.
Respect.
Yeah.
Respect. In Jamaica, it's
Respect.
Respect with a K. Respect.
Yes.
So yeah, we definitely go on respect. Thanks for tuning in to episode 55 of the Junto Podcast. Remember, you can follow us, listen to previous episodes, everything at this little, where am I? That website right there, www.juntopodcast.com. Thanks again for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you next time. Be blessed.